So you've been spending some time on my YouTube channel learning about tinnitus. Maybe you've looked at other resources as well. You've gotten some pretty clear guidance on what you should be doing, but for some reason the results don't seem to match that. In this video, I wanted to create 5 simple reminders about things that you might be forgetting about getting better with tinnitus. This is Pure Tinnitus. Hey everyone, this is Dr. Ben Thompson, founder of Pure Tinnitus. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you've been here for a while following me, give this video a thumbs up so YouTube can recommend it to other people. In this video, we will be covering the 5 things that I see many of my clients forgetting about getting better with tinnitus. And sometimes they learn this at the beginning, but there's this gap where it's hard to integrate it into their everyday life. Number 1 is a comprehensive sound therapy plan to soothe the auditory system. I often see clients who have a hard time focusing in quiet places like in an office setting or in their home when they're working from home. And the reason is because there's no external noise to make the tinnitus less of an issue. Therefore, using sound therapy really helps them. And there's 2 main areas to use sound therapy: during the day, during the waking hours of your day, and at night when you're trying to fall asleep. So having that comprehensive sound therapy plan is going to be key for a few reasons. First, it makes your tinnitus softer when you're listening to other sounds. And we know this. When you're outside around nature that has some noise to it, the tinnitus isn't an issue. When you're talking with friends or listening to a podcast, your tinnitus is not so much of an issue. Just when it's mainly when you're in those very quiet places and you're trying to focus on something that the loudness of the ringing, the loudness of the tinnitus really distracts you from staying focused. Of course, that can lead to negative effects of anxiety and stress and poor sleep. So how do we try to reduce that on the front end? Having a sound therapy plan is a great way to reduce the tinnitus volume when you're listening to sound therapy and to soothe your auditory system. In tinnitus retraining therapy, as you've probably learned about, tinnitus retraining therapy is a major protocol used for tinnitus help, and there's something called the mixing point. So if you're new here, the mixing point means that you have the loudness of your tinnitus, and then you also have the sound therapy you're going to use. So the sound therapy is going to come very close to the tinnitus, but not completely mask it. That's called the mixing point. Now you have to figure out what kind of sound do you use? What kind of sound therapy is out there that's going to help you? I found over the time that a lot of people prefer high-pitch sound therapy that is a similar cadence, a similar quality to their tinnitus. So that might be the sound of crickets, the sound of water running. The way to actually use the sound therapy are through hearing devices that go in your ear or on top of your ear. Sometimes people use bone conduction headsets. Additionally, you can use sound from your phone, a speaker in your room, a fan, classical music in the background. So finding a good sound therapy plan is going to be key. The second aspect of getting better with tinnitus that most people forget to keep practicing is releasing from that fight or fight response. This is something that comes from the psychological understanding of tinnitus and how those networks, which get activated through the fight or flight response, they make the tinnitus louder. Anyone who's experienced this knows this can be true. I had a patient who's recently contacted me and said, "I'm stuck in a state of fear. I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if this tinnitus is going to get a lot worse. I don't really know what I can do." And they're stuck in that fear, and they were able to verbalize it, which is great. So my understanding of the neuroscience, the brain science here, is that being stuck in the fight or flight state of fear means that it's going to be hard for your body and your mind to let go and ease the tinnitus. It can happen, right? If you go from tinnitus not being a problem to a period of high intense stress, anxiety, fear with loud tinnitus, it is possible, it is likely that managing the fear, managing the fight or flight response, and the anxiety, that will have a positive effect on the tinnitus over a matter of months. I've seen this. That's what I hope happens for you. So I wanted to list this as the second important thing that you can't forget, is that the fight or flight response happens throughout our day naturally. So we want to stay in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the healthy, relaxed, grounded, centered part of our body and mind for as many hours of the day as possible. Some common examples of activating the fight or flight response purposefully would be watching action movies, watching the news, or having conversations with people that really trigger you and bring you into an anxious state. Any of those kinds of feelings are going to put your body, you can feel it in your shoulders, in your upper body, even tightness in your jaw or your head, that is in the fight or flight state. So make sure that we try to stay out of the fight or flight as much as possible. That's where psychology, that's where stress reduction can really come into play and work wonders for you. So we have 3 more things that I want to make sure you don't forget when you're trying to get better with your tinnitus. So let's cover number 3 next. Third important factor here is to calm stress and anxiety. A lot easier said than done, but this is often the biggest opening for you to actually get better and feel real progress with your tinnitus. When I say real progress, I mean the volume, the intensity of your tinnitus can shift, it can ease itself over time. But oftentimes, first, the key to do that is to better manage stress and anxiety. Now, there are practices you can do on your own, and there's help you can get from professionals or support groups or communities. So let's start with what you can do on your own. The easiest things are going to be learning a new skill and practicing it consistently, nearly every day. Try it a little bit in the morning and in the evening as well. This will help your stress, anxiety, sleep, and your tinnitus in effect. So for managing stress, think about what you do in an average day and what domain of control do you have about certain situations or certain people, certain conversations that might be causing you a high amount of stress, okay? Think about anxiety, right? Think about what it is that you're anxious about. Is it about your tinnitus? Is it about something else? Because if you're anxious, if you have questions, if you're worried about your tinnitus, then talk to someone who can help answer those questions to ease your concerns. And I advise talking to someone who is knowledgeable, talking to someone, myself, another specialist, a therapist, someone who runs a support group with the American Tinnitus Association. Talk to them. Try not to just message some random person off of a Facebook group or a Reddit chat because they have a similar case as your tinnitus. They might be also stuck in the negativity and in the symptoms, in anxiety, and they also might be trying to figure out how to get out of it. Consider starting meditation practice. You can do that through Pure Tinnitus. Consider starting yoga or Tai Chi or guided body scans or walking meditation. You can use videos, audio from this channel or my podcast, or you can find other sorts of calming, gentle, guided meditations. Put them in your ears so you have that noise, and then try to go walking outside. Try to do some light exercises or stretching. When you're doing that, you are helping any stress or anxiety that's in your mind and in your body, okay? Sometimes you have to do trial and error to figure out how to manage stress and anxiety. But if you can, and I believe most people can, if you can figure out what are your anxiety triggers, what is causing stress in your life, slowly work that out, then that's usually the turning point for when tinnitus starts to get better, okay? That's what I've seen. I have anxiety myself at times, and I know it's easier said than done to snap out of it, okay? But there are systems that work. There are people that can help you. The fourth aspect here that I want to make sure you remember, because a lot of people forget it, is to let go and work on negative thinking patterns and how that can make your tinnitus much worse than it has to be. Cognitive behavioral therapy, often cited as the #1 tinnitus therapy approach. uses ways to deconstruct negative thinking processes and have that actually improve your life with tinnitus. Now, why would cognitive behavioral therapy be consistently rated as an effective therapy solution for tinnitus unless it really got into these negative thinking patterns and deconstructing them? Let's talk about a common situation. Someone considers their tinnitus to be the devil or to be evil or the worst thing that's ever happened to them, and the reason why their life has gotten so much worse. And I'm not here to re-traumatize anyone with this, but I'm citing some common examples, okay? Cognitive behavioral technique, a cognitive behavioral approach to this would say, let's look at that. Let's unpack that. Is the tinnitus truly the reason why your life at times may feel hopeless or empty or dark and sad? Let's really unpack that and figure out how much control it has, what is our future outlook, and how the negative thinking that sometimes comes throughout your day or your week with tinnitus, how that negative thinking, you do not have to latch onto it as much as you may be. There may be more opportunity for you to use your breathing, to take slow inhales and exhales, to have some techniques to use your breath and allow these thoughts, which might be negative, to come and pass through. Potentially write them down on a notebook or a notepad so you can get them out of your head and start focusing on what's around you. So that's an example of negative thinking patterns can make the tinnitus suffering worse than it has to be. This is a sensitive topic because sometimes we don't realize our thinking patterns until we work with a therapist or a coach, or we journal, or we have a support group where we can truly explain what's going on and we realize what's happening inside of our own minds, all right? It's a lot of psychology, it's a lot about the brain, but this is an important thing that a lot of people forget. And I want to make sure you, being a part of this audience here with Pure Tinnitus on my YouTube channel, remember this. All right, guys, we're almost done. This is number 5. This is the last one here, so make sure to get the whole piece of this. Number 5, what I want to make sure you remember for getting better with tinnitus is to have some daily practices that can shift your attention away from tinnitus and start focusing again on what's more important in your life, all right? Daily practices, what is this going to mean for you? Well, for most people who are successfully managing stress and anxiety that the world brings, that their own mind brings, that any health symptom like tinnitus or pain brings to them, daily practices are ways to put energy into your bank, into your reserve, so that when times are tough, the withdrawal of that energy does not completely deplete you of your resources. So personally, I practice meditation in the morning. Some other people with tinnitus have a hard time sitting in quiet and practicing meditation. So they're going to figure out some daily habits, daily practices and exercises that make them feel good, that fill them up with energy and joy and calm. And that is going to really help manage the tinnitus. So let's start with the morning. In the morning, you have an opportunity to set the tone for the rest of your day. So consider waking up a little earlier and try some guided breathing, some movement of your body, going on a walk, doing some exercise, and drinking lots of water to start your day. Also have these grounding mind-body practices that we mentioned earlier, yoga, meditation, tai chi, something that you can consistently do so you know this is contributing to yourself getting better. And even if your tinnitus doesn't really change, you know that you're feeling healthier, you're feeling better. And trust me, this is an important aspect of getting better because in the short term, you don't have direct control over the tinnitus volume, but you can control your daily habits, your practices, things that ground and calm your nervous system and your mind, and that allows the tinnitus to become less and less and less of a problem, all right? In the evenings, you also have an opportunity for daily practices. In the evenings, you may choose to, again, try meditation or laying down, stretching, taking a warm bath or a warm shower, reading a book instead of watching TV. using sound therapy, listening to your favorite music, or watching a nice, relaxing kind of television or movie program. All right, those are examples of things you can do in the evenings that set yourself up for good sleep so that your nervous system is at ease, and then day by day, things get better. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you're not already, make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel here. If you want to find me to work with me, you can go to puretinnitus.com. Leave a comment here about which of these 5 important tips do you think are worth trying, are worth taking that extra step. Thanks for being part of this community, and I'll see you guys on this next video.